With Argenti coming very soon, we need to start getting our accounts ready if you're going to be summoning for him, because yes, there are going to be certain characters that you want to level up for Argenti, because he does have a couple of niche uses when it comes to the teams that he wants to be on. And then we're also going to be talking about the relics, the light cones, all the type of stuff that you possibly need to know in order to build Argenti. So before we get into all that, make sure to leave us a like and a sub on the video. I'd very much appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and start with the characters that you want to build with Argenti, because there are quite a few. Some that are going to be kind of needed for his team and some that are going to help him out, and then the others might be some fun picks as well because of what Argenti can do. So we may know for sure that one of Argenti's main gimmicks is that he has a very high ult, which it comes to the energy that it costs, and it's going to be doing a lot of damage, but you have to get yourself to that ult threshold. And with that being said, with him needing as much energy as he does to be able to use that second or enhanced ult, you're going to want to make sure that you have Ting Yun built. This is by far a character that is needing to be glued to Argenti, just because it's going to make it a lot more smoother to play with him when you have a character that's constantly giving him energy, constantly giving him an attack buff, a damage buff. A lot of really good things can come from Ting Yun, and also if you have some Eidolons, you're also going to be able to give him some speed as well, so you'll be able to go more often, which overall is just going to make Argenti feel very nice to play. Now, like I said, Ting Yun is by far going to be one of the characters that you want to make sure that is glued to Argenti. That ult cost is nothing to play around with. You are going to want to make sure that you have Ting Yun on the team at all times with Argenti, because I feel like if you don't have Ting Yun with Argenti, and let's say there's 4 characters or maybe 3 characters, it is going to be quite some time before you actually get your ult all the way up into the enhanced state, just because of how much energy you're going to need when it comes to actually getting that ult out. Now, another character that is in the same realm as Ting Yun, which I want to make also a comparison to as well, is that you could also rock Huohuo on the same team as well with Ting Yun and Huohuo, because oh my god, that is going to be a lot of energy for you to be able to give Argenti, and you're going to be able to funnel so much when it comes to the attack buffs from both Ting Yun and Huohuo, the energy that's going to be coming out from both of them as well. They are both absolutely amazing characters that are going to work with them for sure, so you are most likely than not going to be able to clear through everything if you have these 2 characters. Now, I don't want to preface Huohuo that much because I know they are a very recent character, and not a lot of you probably summoned for her if you wanted to get Argenti. So Ting Yun by far is just the only character that you want to make sure is glued to Argenti, and that's pretty much it. Now, to go to the other characters as well that are going to help him out a bit, of course, this is a character that's on every freaking team in the game until Ruin Mei comes out, which is Bronya. Of course, Argenti is a DPS, so he's going to benefit a lot from that crit damage boost, being able to go extra turns, being able to get that damage dealt buff. There's a lot of really cool things that come from Bronya, and of course, he's a DPS, so why wouldn't he want Bronya on the team? But with so many characters wanting her on the team, you might not be able to pull her off of like maybe Cell or Dan Heng or some other character like that. So if you want to add another character that's going to be very nice for Argenti with how he works, because remember, his skill and his ultimate hit the whole wave, and with that being said, you could also replace Bronya with Pela, because Pela is able to do the defense shred with their ult to the whole wave, and that being said, you are also going to be able to hit the whole wave with Argenti, so you can still make 100% use with Pela's ult if you don't want to use Bronya as well. You could also use Yukong to give Argenti that crit rate boost and also that massive crit damage boost as well. Remember, Argenti is going to be getting a lot of crit rate from his passive, so that is something to keep in mind. Having Yukong and the passive that comes from Argenti will possibly let you be able to stack a lot of crit damage and get some nasty blows in if you have these 2 on the same team. Another character that's going to help with crit rate, which again, he doesn't really need it because he is going to be buffing himself with it. So you're not going to need that much crit rate on your relics most likely. You can just stack up full on crit damage. And if you want to put Fu Xuan in there as a sustain, if you don't have Huohuo, then it's going to be also amazing as well. You're not going to have to worry about CC. You have almost mitigation on all your damage that's going to be coming to your team. Fu Xuan's going to be able to heal it back. Fu Xuan's going to be able to help and hit some of those enemies that are, you know, she also has a full wave ult. So these are some really nice things. Another crit rate buff. And as I said before, yes, his passive does stack on crit rate. So if you're going to be using Yukong, if you're going to be using Fu Xuan, you can kind of prioritize more crit damage stats, because you're just going to be overflowing in crit rate, and you really don't want to overcap yourself, because that is going to be wasted crit value. So other than those characters that are going to be really amazing with Argenti, these other 2 characters are going to be kind of special or kind of a weird condition that you can use. Also, Argenti can be a break effect character if you want, because yes, Physical is going to be proccing one of the strongest bleeds or dots in the game. So that being said, if you're using Argenti and you have a whole wave of physical enemies, then guess what? Kafka with Argenti might actually work. This is a very weird and fun build. You don't have to use it. I kind of don't recommend it, but Kafka can be used with Argenti if you're going to be running Break Effect Argenti, because he does hit the full wave. And then Himiko as well can be used with Argenti. This is another weird team. And you're also going to have a really fast support and a really fast sustain, because you're going to be using skill points like crazy. But with Argenti being able to break multiple shields with him hitting the whole wave, Himiko is going to be able to get her passive off and actually use her follow-up attack. So you can use some really weird stuff when it comes to Argenti. So I've already listed all the characters that are really good with them. I've already listed all the characters that have some fun uses to him. Let's go ahead and start talking about the light cones. Of course, his light cone, his signature one, is going to be his very best. It's just going to have all the things that he possibly needs to be able to do what he needs to do and do it the best he can. But if you don't want to go for his signature, there are a couple of substitutes that we can talk about. Jingyuin's light cone is actually pretty well, because you are going to be buffing skill and ultimate damage, which is going to be the majority of his damage. The only problem is that you are going to be losing the follow-up damage buff that Jingyuin's light cone gives, but you get a lot of stats, skill, ultimate, and also crit damage. A lot of really cool stuff that you can get with his light cone. Today is a Peaceful Day, which is a battle pass light cone, is really nice because it synergizes with Argenti's kit very well. You're going to be getting more damage based on how much energy you have, and with his energy being as high as it is, you're going to be able to cap out on the buff from this light cone and do some insane damage, because it is a full damage buff instead of an attack buff. And this is a really good light cone to have. So if you've ever bought the battle pass, or you're waiting to choose your battle pass card and you're going to be pulling for Argenti, today's a Peaceful Day is going to be an amazing option to pick from if you want to have a character or a light cone that's going to be able to use that, and Argenti is going to be able to love that light cone. If you're free to play and you want to just go ahead and use a free to play light cone, of course, Breakfast is by far one of the better free-to-play light cones for your edition. You can get that damage buff and attack buff as well. So this is always a good, reliable option. And then Make the World Clamor. This is a very cope option in all honesty, because you are going to be getting the ultimate buff and that one-time energy buff. But you should just go ahead and get Breakfast. You're going to be getting more damage out. You're going to get an attack stacking buff. There's a lot of really cool stuff that comes from Breakfast. So make sure to use that if you haven't had the chance, and go ahead and just buy it from the fragment shop. If you haven't already gotten it, make it R5 or S5. You're going to be really good with Argenti. Other than that, going on to his relics, of course, there's only one really good set that you want to run, unless you want to run a funny build, which is Break Effect, then you run the Thief set. But for the most part, everyone's going to want to run main DPS Argenti, which of course that means you're going to want to run the physical set, which of course is going to be giving you the physical buff from the 2-piece set, and then the stacking for 5 stacks of attack stacking, and it's going to overall just help Argenti's damage overall. There really isn't anything else in the game right now that kind of matches his kit, so this is the only thing you're going to have to be running in all honesty when it comes to the domain, which is going to be the physical set. And then for the Plano ornaments, you're going to want to run Inert Salsodo, of course, because you are going to get that crit rate buff, which is really nice. And then you're also going to be getting the ultimate buff, which is going to be the majority of his damage. Some people might want to run Rudolin Arena for the skill. I just don't think the skill will be that important in all honesty. The main gimmick, of course, is his enhanced ult. So you want to make sure you're just going ahead buffing the ult as much as you can. So Inert Salsodo will probably be the best. If you want to have a really good all-around option, then you can run Space Sealing Station, because you will be able to get that attack boost, and it will just overall help your Argenti overall rather than hard stacking on the ultimate. So other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to all the things that you possibly need to know about Argenti. You should go ahead and grind all of those things. For the relics, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to run the main DPS setup, you know, crit rate, crit damage, chest, attack boost, because you probably will be running Bronya. If you don't have Bronya, then you might have to shell out for the speed boots. And then for the rope, I think energy regen might be the best option. Of course, we have to test and see when he releases, but attack rope versus energy rope, I do think energy rope, with how much he needs it, might make a little bit more sense than an attack roll, because it's going to take you a very long time, and an especially very long time if you don't have Ting Yun on the team. So we'll see when he releases. I'm excited to play with him because he looks like a very cool unit, even though a lot of people aren't seeing him in a more positive light. But nonetheless, I'm very excited to see him. But other than that, let me know if you're going to be pulling for Argenti, all that type of stuff. See you on the next one, and peace.